Okay, you ready to go to sleep and have some nice Dreamvilles?
Some Dreamsville.
Some Dreamsville. Time to go over Dreamvilles. The Dreamville label, J. Cole's Dreamville label. Revenge of the Dreamers 3, Revenge of the Nerds. J. Cole is...
Get me out of here.
Dreamville is J. Cole's record label. They have contributions on this compilation from artists such as J. Cole, Boss, Cause, Omen, Loot, Ari Lennox, Earth Game, which features Johnny Venus and Dr. Dot, and JID. This entire compilation record of these Dreamville artists and other artists throughout the entire thing, like Ski Mask and Kendrick has a feature on here, is made up entirely 10 days from 10-day studio sessions, because that was the only time they can get everyone together in one studio, all the Dreamville artists. So they wanted to make this album that's supposed to represent a sense of community and small and underrated artists finally being heard in a large sense. Going over this entire thing, I was introduced to this album through the track Down Bad, which I thought was completely hectic and reminds me like the track Off D's that JID and J. Cole released last year, which is completely bouncy, and J. Cole and JID are passing the ball back in between each other, but J. Cole manages to bounce it back to JID faster than originally, and then JID bounces it back. It felt like this very like tennis-like nature where it was very hectic and dominant, which was interesting. I feel like Down Bad has that similar nature where it feels like a bouncing volleyball or something like that, where they keep on trying to get someone to drop it.
Yeah.
That like tossing nature where it's like, let's see if you can handle this. No, let's see if you can handle this. I like that nature to it because it makes it seem like they're challenging each other, which is really nice, and it feels very hectic, and it feels like a community, which I really enjoy. I think the same can be said for the track, what is it? Wells Fargo, the little interlude thing, where I said this before, say it again, hip-hop needs more group vocals, and on that track, we got a ton of group vocals, and it felt like a big, giant sense of community. I'm like, yes, this is the bold idea. This is what we're getting. Moments like Lambo Truck, I really like the collaboration between Reason and Cause. Reason obviously being a Top Dog member, Cause being a Dreamville member, and it says, shit, fuck it, I'll stop. Look, let's make a deal. While I go rob Cole, you go rob Top. I love that little fun nature, even though I don't think that track's one of the best. I do think the playful nature of that brings out a lot in both artists, and actually makes me respect Reason a lot more, where I haven't had a ton of respect for him to begin with, because I haven't really enjoyed a lot of his music before. Moments like Costa Rica, I think, are fun with the kind of Spanish like instrumentation being played on, and I think is great. The Ski Mask, the Slump God feature, undeniably bouncy when it really should not be. The vocals that appear at the end of this track are incredible, and I think other than that, those are the most positive things I feel like I have to say. Besides Johnny Venus and JID across this entire thing, seeming like the hugest stars on earth, JID seems like a national treasure. We need to protect him at all costs, even though I feel like he can protect himself because he's a big boy. He's equal to 3,000 Andres. And yeah, I feel like they show out the signing members across this thing, but for the most part, we get a lot of just bland moments where it feels like there's too many artists on this thing. This thing's an hour and 4 minutes. It has no right to be. It should not be this long. I kind of wish this compilation was released as more of a bunch of loose singles, because the singles on this thing I actually enjoy somewhat.
Yeah, I think this project is way too long. I also think that it lacks a distinct vision, which I think is one of my biggest problems with this.
And biggest problems with J. Cole in general.
Yes, yeah. I feel like J. Cole is always trying to do things that are bigger than himself. That's how he garnered his fans in the first place. His couple of mixtapes that he released before 2014 Forest Hills Drive, as well as that record, I thought were pretty decent. Then he released For Your Eyes Only, which I completely forgot about until I was thinking about it the other day. And then KOD from last year, I felt just extremely disappointing. Was that last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was last year. Extremely disappointing and just fake in a sense. But here's J. Cole coming out with his Dreamville label, which I know he's always had big dreams for, big plans.
Big dreams.
Big dreams, big memeville coming out. And he signed all these artists, which
Did
I
you
think
know Martin Luther King was intended to be on Dreamville?
I knew that. I think he says that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And he's signing some people that I think have potential. Boss, Earth Gang, Ari Lennox, JID. Already know he has potential. He's doing fantastic. But on here, I just feel like there's no point. J. Cole says that it's supposed to represent community and small and underrated artists being heard. But if that's the case, then why are big artists like J. Cole and Boz on every single track? Why does J. Cole have an entire track dedicated to just Middle Child?
Which
I think is pointless. It should have just been a loose single.
His vocals on Middle Child are awful. The effects that are put on him are terrible. Middle Child seems like a freestyle that it somehow got Billboard acclaim, so that's why it ended up on here. So they needed an album for it, which is stupid.
I mean, I think that's really dumb because I think it's just been a loose single, as well as there's a whole Earth Gang track on here, Swivel, which is supposed to be coming from their upcoming album Mirrorland, which I think is kind of dumb. Like, why would you put that on there? That should have been released as a loose single and promoted by J. Cole instead of like being put on this big compilation. I think he wanted this to be like a cohesive album, but it just really doesn't end up being that way. My favorite tracks on here, the opening track Under the Sun with Kendrick's hook on there, I think was excellent.
That's a good example of getting smaller artists like Lude and DaBaby over.
DaBaby. DaBaby's feature on here I think is hilarious. I think it's really good. Going into Down Bad, which I think is also an incredible track. Other favorites, Wells Fargo, which I think is almost reminiscent of a Gorillaz track. I think that the English accent, the JID and Buddy, when you had me the bazooka, like at the very front, just had me laughing my ass off. I thought that was so funny. Also, but like the track in and of itself, I just wish it was a little longer. It's so much fun. Costa Rica is way too long. It's got everybody on Earth featured on this.
But I think each feature kind of works its way.
In some way, shape, or form, yeah. But I also feel like I fell asleep halfway through and then woke up during Ski Mask. And I was like, oh, hey,
Ski Mask is here. When Ski Mask come to the party?
Welcome. But there's some really, really forgettable moments on here. Self-love, ladies, 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 boring. Like, what's the point of doing stuff like that? Sleep deprived, boring. Completely forgot about that. Maxo Cream's feature on Oh Wow Swerve
is good, but he also seems asleep.
Yes. The Swerve part of the track I think is way more fun, where it's like, if I keep moving like this, I'll be God. I think is a really cool hook. But also, why do they cut it off Future style? Half like the fade out into somebody's verse. They're like, oh, I guess it's not finished. We'll just let him talk until we turn them. Yeah, you just keep going, buddy. You're doing great. Like turning it down. I think that was kind of pointless as well. The last three tracks, Middle Child, which we talked about, PTSD, and Sacrifices. I actually like Sacrifices, but PTSD and Middle Child I find to be extremely boring.
And forgettable.
And Sacrifices I feel like just goes on way too long. Also, they say Sacrifices. That bothers me.
One thing I forgot to mention on 1993, Buddy constantly just screaming and getting cut off by every other member of Dreamville is terrific. Keep that up. Keep that, because like there's some really creative moments. Like Wells Fargo, you mentioned the gentleman accents. 1993 with Buddy getting cut off, the combination of Reason and Cause on Lambo Truck. There's some very creative hip hop ideas on here. We're just not getting them throughout the entire thing, and that's the big problem. We're getting tracks like not Swivel. Oh Wow, Swerve, which are completely forgettable, and Don't Hit Me Right Now, which just are completely forgettable and very sleep tired. There's moments on here where I think J. Cole's asleep. He's using his giant hair as a pillow to take a nap.
I think those are like my most glaring problems with this is J. Cole's ego, I think, gets in the way more than he would care to admit. I think he even has a line where he says like, I'm the head honcho of Dreamville, and then later on in a different song he says, I'm so active on the radio, I'm radioactive, so I don't know how he gains any sort of credit by doing stuff like that.
Because everyone who listens to his music is dead.
But here it seems like J. Cole is like, oh, we're all in this together, guys, we're all community, but like J. Cole's up here and everybody else is like down here.
That
I don't know. I think that bothers me.
That's why JID seems like one of the more like seems like one of the most personality-filled people on here because he seems like the common man of everyone. He seems like
That's
he's
what
equal to
that's what I
everyone
like
else.
the most is that I feel like he's always giving it his all. And I was thinking about the nature of what I like label compilation albums. I'm thinking of like Kanye and Good Music's Cruel Summer. I'm thinking of like 88 Risings.
I'm also
Head in the Clouds. I'm thinking
also
of the Black Panther album.
yeah.
Yeah, with Top Dog's reps on here or on there. And I feel like Revenge of the Dreamers is going the same way as like a lot of the other ones of those.
But it's also
You're always going to
way
have
longer. Too.
Yeah, it's extremely long, which makes it even more unenjoyable, I think. But what always happens in these like label compilations albums is like you have people that really try and they really want to do well, and you got people that are like asleep and don't mesh with everybody else. And a lot of times, like the production feels uninspired, and the songs go on for just way too long because they're trying to cram way too many people onto tracks and way too many people onto the album.
They're trying to cram way too many people in the studio.
Yes, they just can't fit. They're all like shoulder to shoulder. Wells Fargo, NCAA. Those are my biggest problems. I think this would have been better as loose singles.
Yeah. Keep in mind that was scores are futile manias. Right now I'm feeling a 4. I think there's just too much on here, and a lot of it just seems like just boring filler, and there's some just terrific J. Cole slow moments that are just boring.
Yeah. I'm also gonna have to give it probably a solid 4. That's not to say there aren't great moments on here. There truly are. Like I said, Under the Sun, Down Bad.
Wells Fargo.
Yeah, Wells Fargo. That's the other one. Yeah. And these are things that I'm going to be returning to, I'm sure. Like, they're just excellent tracks. But there are some real stinkers in here that make it just really unenjoyable. Which is a shame, because, like, a lot of artists that I like, Vince Staples, Maxo Cream.
Yeah, Vince Staples, very forgettable on this.
Yes. I think very underutilized. Same with Maxo Cream, and same with Ski Mask. Like, even people like Da Baby and Young Nudie, I feel like could have been utilized better, but they really weren't.
Young Nudie's just a funny ass name. I don't know why.
I know somebody calls him Young Nutty. That's definitely Nudie.
Yeah, but that's it for this dream. We're waking up in a harsh reality.